Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Each episode will dive into the world of search engine optimization for cannabis dispensaries. We'll discuss the latest strategies and tactics to help your dispensary rank higher on search engines and attract more patients and customers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we explore how to maximize your online presence and stay ahead of the competition in the rapidly growing cannabis industry.
Hello, welcome back. Episode 58 of our fabulous high-ranking podcast with me, your favorite host, and then the other guy who sometimes pops in and says stuff.
I've literally been in every single episode.
Okay, but that doesn't invalidate what I just said.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're on episode number 58. We are going to be talking about contracting an SEO agency to help you with your SEO. However, before we do that, as always, let's catch up. What's new?
Well, the Colorado Avalanche, I'm born and raised in Denver, so huge Avs fan, where our listeners don't know. They staved off elimination last night. It was a do-or-die game last night, and they fucking pulled it off on the road. They're playing Dallas. Dallas is a very good team, and they pulled it off. First time in the entire series, they played 5 games. They had the lead. First time in the entire series. One game that they did win, they won in overtime, so they never held the lead against that other team. And last night, they finally got the lead. So that was very tense, but this is the best time of year. Playoff hockey is fucking lit. So following that, of course, the next game is Friday night here in Denver, which should be a banger. And yes, I want to go to the game. I think my girlfriend and I will go. Previous weekend, went to a buddy's housewarming party. I hadn't seen him in a while since his wedding, actually, in January. So that was cool. We had the game on.
His wedding was in January.
I know. He lives like 25 minutes away. And
no, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying it doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
Oh, yeah. We kind of mentioned that. And then like right after the wedding, we went to Thailand, and then I think I caught a virus in Thailand. I was sick for a bit, and yeah, we just hadn't caught up for a while. So that was cool. Good to see him and his wife settling into their new place. They live right near typical Jaime. His name is James. I call him Jaime. They moved right near a bike park, which I don't think is the reason why. Of course, it's not the reason why they moved there, but it's a nice like little bonus of the neighborhood. It's a cool bike park. So we talked about Trestle. Trestle opens up in almost exactly 4 weeks, which is pretty nice. That's awesome. I'll get a place there. I don't know about opening weekend. It gets kind of busy, but that subsequent week, I will be up there not breaking in. Hopefully I get hand surgery after the season, so I'm not going to do anything stupid this season. I won't go too hard, but I do need, just for my own sanity, go up there and stay and bomb around in that park for a bit. So yeah, that's basically it. Catching up with a good friend, watching the playoffs, and obviously work stuff. How about you? What's going on in your busy full calendar?
Last weekend was Mother's Day. So
and we did Mother's Day. Pardon me. We also did Mother's Day. Yeah, we got together with my parents, brought her favorite restaurant. She didn't want to go out. I didn't really feel like going to a restaurant. So brought the food there to her house. So it was good to see fam. I don't know why that didn't pop in my head, but yes, celebrated.
Your mother deserves better. That's why.
No, that is very rude. We got very nice flowers and a nice bracelet, and she was happy. So it's good to see sister. I hadn't seen her in a couple of weeks. We just had stuff going on. But yeah, all the families together on Sunday. That was like all day Sunday. So usually we do church and then go out to lunch afterwards and just hang out most of the day on Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, we didn't. So yeah, Sunday was Mother's Day. So we went and had lunch. It was like me, my husband's mom, aunt, grandma, sister, brother-in-law, and one of the kids. So it was quite a chunk of us. And also his mom's birthday was a few days before that. So obviously flowers and gifts and stuff like that. And then his aunt and grandma came over to check out our new kitchen and everything because they hadn't seen it yet. Saturday was like running around, like we had to go and get the flowers and everything for his mom and aunt and grandma. And then It was more like a running around day, I think, if I remember. I feel like it was so long ago because this has been a hectic week for other reasons. But yeah, and then not really much. We've kind of had some shitty weather, so I think my husband's taking the day off tomorrow and he's going to go fishing, which I am not going to go. So, and the weather's kind of not looking that great this weekend. It doesn't really look like much boating is going to happen this weekend. Kids break up from school next week, which is crazy. And then I have like a friend in town who I haven't seen in forever next week. So actually next week's going to be sort of busy. But yeah, we're kind of getting ready for the summer now. We did a lot of work around the house recently, getting prepped and stuff like that done. But yeah, the summer's coming up, which means we'll be on the boat a lot, I think. And the kids will be out of school. So there's also that. So I think it's like quiet time before it all kicks off, pretty much. Is where we're at, which is fine by me. I don't mind that. But yeah, scallop season will be coming up here. I think that's July 1st. Yeah, July 1st. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sounds lit.
It is very lit. It is very, very lit. Yeah, we just have a lot of other stuff going on. So it is what it is. I popped over to see my friends yesterday because I'm going to see them in a minute. Oh, and they're making these really cool like organic dog treats and stuff. Like they're literally making them themselves, which it's not, I don't have that skill. So that was really cool to see them like start a new business off the ground. Was really cool for them. And my dogs really like their treats. So that was nice. But yeah,
That's
nothing this week. No, not much going on in terms of actually things happening like that, which is nice. Nice and quiet. We like it. So yeah, that's it. I have no doctor's appointments. I have no medical emergencies. I'm not having an operation, unlike you, who's putting yours off like forever.
Well, I'm still doing PT. It's every other day for my shoulder and my hand. I'm putting off my hand till the end of the season. My shoulder is getting better. I do PT at home here every other day. And
yeah.
I mean, it's making progress. It's nice. We're going to reevaluate at the end of the season. I'm 90% sure I won't need shoulder surgery, just my hand. But my hand's been fucked since I was 17 when I first broke it.
But then after bike season, you'll be like, well, now it's hockey season. So now I can't do it because then I got to play hockey. Like,
no, I can. I'll be off for a while. Like my groin is kind of tweaked too. So like honestly, I barely even play hockey now, so it's not that big a deal.
Oh really? You've not been playing much?
Yeah, more into biking. It's easier on your body, except when you crash.
We're coming up to the anniversary of your crash. It's not far off now.
April, May, June, yeah, 4th of July. Yeah. Actually, the guys that I was with when I crashed, I was with this past weekend, and they were telling my girlfriend what happened. And they're just, the guy that was behind me, he goes, yeah, you and James were going really, really fast. And Carlos, when you crashed, you just flipped over the bars. And he goes, it was like those videos on YouTube you see of people getting hit by cars and they just keep rolling. He goes, yeah, you just kept rolling down this rock, like this rock bed. Because yeah, you're kind of scrambled eggs too when I got over there. It's like, oh,
I know I told this story before, but I remember I was in the pool and I got this text from you, and I honestly swear to God thought you were messing with me, which had I paid attention to the fact that it was a live video, I would have pressed the little button and you
can easily tell.
Well, see, but I didn't realize it was a live picture at the time. Had I known that at the time, I would have pressed the button, because when you watch the live, you can actually you can see that it's real, right? But I was like, no, he's messing with me. He is fucking with me. I don't know why he thinks this is funny, but it's not funny. So I saved the picture and then I went in and clicked on it so you can see all of the details, you know?
Yeah, like the swipe up.
Yeah, and it was the right date and it was the right location. And I honestly thought you were absolutely fucking with me. And it wasn't until I did that and I was like, oh no, like he's for real.
For real.
It's
yeah, I got.
Yeah. I was like, you're just fucking with me. And then I was like, oh no, he's not. And then I was like, and then what was worse was you didn't tell me you didn't explain how injured you were or you were not. And then you were so sporadic in texting me, it would be hours in between texts, so I didn't know how badly you were hurt. I knew it wasn't super bad because you had texted me, obviously, so I knew you were in the hospital, but I didn't know are we losing limbs here, or are we sprained ankle because it was like hours in between you texting me.
Yeah,
Like, oh.
I text you from the ER
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
like bedside, and then
Yeah.
what happened after that? I think I do like X-rays, taking off my shirt, like that was the whole thing because my shoulder was torn. I think they just cut it off. Actually, I think like I ripped most of the shirt on my left hand side. My left shoulder was torn, so like taking it off was not like putting my arm up was not going to happen. So I think they just cut it off. I think. And then, yeah, cutting off my pads, getting my bike out. 'Cause I made sure to tell them, yeah, that's very expensive.
Mhm.
And I remember I was taken down on an ATV. One of the guys on the ATV is like, yeah, that's a nice bike. So yeah, we'll be sure to take care of it. And they put it in like a back room, I guess. And then, yeah, I had to do x-rays. I had to do, what the hell happened after that? Just tell them what happened, do like some paperwork, like insurance stuff. And I think I just sat around for a bit, just answering questions. They were making sure I didn't have a concussion. And that was about it. And then the two guys I was with, I mean, I told them, it's like, obviously, you don't have to come to the ER room. Like, I'm fine. My wrist really fucking hurts and my shoulder hurts, but you guys don't have to come. So they met up with me afterwards. They came over afterwards and came swoop me up. Then I had to drive back to Denver, which wasn't that bad. So yeah, it was like shitty. Like I knew I was going to crash just because that's like a hazard of the trade. And I knew that my wrist was very high prone for a big injury just because it didn't heal properly when I was like 16 or 17 when I first broke it. So it was just a matter of time, which sucks to say, but it is what it is.
It do be what it do be.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're almost a year away from that. That's crazy. Life has been lifing, that's for sure. Okay, so moving on to this episode. I said it was episode 58, and we are talking about why hiring the right SEO agency can really help you with your, obviously, SEO for your dispensary, which obviously we might be a little bit biased because we are, in fact, an SEO agency, one that specifically does only work with dispensaries. So not only are we experts in SEO, we are actually experts in SEO specifically for dispensaries. So you could say we do know a little bit about what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. And a lot of this too is like what we've been told from clients is that here's the reason why we hire you. Like obviously the biggest one is the fact that we're so niched into only offering one service for one type of customer. So for example, like I talked to one recently that said, yeah, we've been burned in the past. And I said, was it an agency that only works with dispensaries? Said, no, they're just a generalist agency. They'll work with doctors, contractors, SaaS companies. I said, okay, well, dispensaries are very nuanced. They don't get the industry. And the owner is like, yeah, you're right. So like, that's like the biggest one is lack of knowledge when an agency is more generalist and not a specialist.
Yeah, which is, I believe, would be true for any industry that was looking to, work with an SEO agency.
I think that's anything. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're, I don't know, whatever it might be, if you're a doctor and you want a new website, you want to go with someone that knows your industry inside out, Yeah. So definitely. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't some agencies out there who don't specialize, who aren't really good, because I'm sure there are, but I know if it was me, what I would want. So yeah.
It's like I explained this to a friend at that party over the weekend. He was kind of asking the same thing. He's like, wait, so he knew what SEO was, but we only do dispensaries. I said, it's like we were watching the hockey game. It's like if you're a goalie in hockey, do you want the head coach or an assistant coach to try to coach you like privately during practice, or do you want a goalie coach who has played at a high level in his career or whatever, who's retired? Yeah. Like, do you want him to coach you during practice, like with private sessions? Like it's the exact same thing, whether a pitcher or a quarterback or whatever. It's very nuanced. And if you are going to contract an agency, they have to have a certain level of expertise.
Yeah, I totally agree. 100%. Yeah. Which is, I mean, because we talked about our journey into where we are today in a previous podcast that you could go back and listen to, but we did not start out specifically only doing SEO for dispensaries. Our journey was not that. And we learned a lot of our journey, we go back and listen to the episode, but in it, we talked about, like, obviously we've made some mistakes, but we've also learned lessons along the way that didn't necessarily come out of a mistake. It's just things that, as we've progressed and we've gotten better and we've had more clients, things that we've just learned along the way. And I think one of those lessons that we learned that did not come out of a mistake was the fact that we really did need to niche down, and we really did need to become experts in a specific field. That was something that just kind of came out of the more clients we had, the more work we did, the more understanding we had, was when we kind of took a hard look and said, okay, this is what we need to do, and we really need to focus our efforts here. And that's kind of how we ended up specifically dealing with dispensaries and only dispensaries. And we're not the only people that have niched into a specific, industry, but by a long shot, there's a lot of other agencies out there that do that. But it is something that was a very conscious decision on our part, that was what we were going to do. We didn't accidentally do it. It was a very conscious decision that was what we were going to do. And then even within that, we kind of have specific guidelines on the type of dispensaries that we want to work with, or that we do work with. So even within that niching, we've even kind of sort of niched a little bit more, I would say.
Yeah, we have, because we offer premium service. It's not every dispensary can afford our services, and that's fine, but we have a criteria that we uphold of, a certain level of functionality of a dispensary. So it's not for everybody, but what we've learned with our journey is that we can provide this goes for any kind of niche agency, hopefully, is that the value that you can provide is, 10 times greater than just a generalist agency because of that experience. I mean, that's really what you're investing in is that experience, because kind of what you were saying earlier, that we haven't made the same mistake twice.
No.
So we know what works. And I think more importantly, we know what does not work.
And also, I think what else is important about, when you're looking to, hire an agency, is that the benefit of an agency who have niched down specifically into your field, your industry, is that somebody like us, for example, we are so clued in to what is going on in the industry in terms of, if we take, for example, dispensaries particularly, in terms of what's happening in the country, politically, legally. And I say that because obviously we discussed a couple of weeks ago about the fact that they were talking about changing the classification of marijuana from a class, I think they were going to a class 3, I think is what they were talking about. But you have your finger on the pulse so much more when you are only having to pay attention to one particular industry, versus if you have clients from all over walks of life and different businesses and different industries, you're not going to be as clued in and as aware of all of the changes that are happening within that industry as you would be if you only ever focused on one. So the nuances that come within the dispensary industry, we are clued in on, we are keyed in on, we are highly aware of that, because not only do we have to pay attention specifically to dispensaries and the marijuana industry, but we also have to be keyed in and clued on and our finger on the pulse in terms of what's happening with Google and their updates and the way that they do things. We just talked offline right before we started the podcast about the changes that have now come with Google results and the AI that's landing at the top of that Google page. So how many more things do you want your agency to be clued in on? You don't want to spread them too thin. So they have to know Google inside and outside and what's coming up with them and those changes and how they affect you. But also they have to have the same commitment and level of understanding to your specific industry. So those two things alone take up a lot of bandwidth. Now imagine that they have 4, 5, 6, 7 different businesses and industries, and to also be just as clued in on. I don't think that that's possible. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think it's possible. So that's why we say, when you're looking to hire an SEO agency and experts, that's why having somebody who has niched down is much more advantageous to you. And I think the level of service they're going to give to you is going to be higher. Now, might that come at a higher price than if you hired a general agency, for example? Yeah, it will. but it's in the long run, it's going to be worth it, you know, for what they can bring to you and the changes that they can bring to you in your dispensary.
Mm-hmm. You'll see value quicker with a specialist than
For sure.
a generalist. You'll see value and make money quicker. Your revenue will increase faster.
100%. 100%. And not only that, but bearing in mind that a lot of the work that the agency have done or are going to do for you, they've probably done 3, 4, 5 times over. So their knowledge is there, their level of understanding is there, their comfort level is there. You know, they've done it so many times before that they know what they're doing. They could do it with their eyes closed. All they're doing now is taking that thing and they are making it unique to your dispensary. But it's been done before. We're not reinventing the wheel every single time. We're not having to go back and do a whole bunch of research before we start working on your dispensary and your needs, because we've already done that hard work. We've already put that research in. We just have to make it unique to your agency and to your dispensary and what you're looking for, as opposed to starting from scratch.
So as opposed to contracting an agency, what if you just hired an in-house SEO?
I mean, you could, but again, are we talking about someone who kind of sort of knows a little bit about SEO, knows it's got keywords somewhere involved in it? I think it's going to vastly depend on who you're hiring, how much time they have in their day, what you're trying to achieve. I mean, I'm not saying there are definitely dispensaries out there, or like not singular dispensaries, but people who have multiple dispensaries. And that's exactly what they've done. And I'm sure that works. I'm not saying that that doesn't work at all. It definitely could work, but you're hiring a person, right? One person who will probably be spread thin, who can only do so much in a day, because we are human and we can only do so much in a day. Versus if you hire an agency, I'm going to use us as an example. You literally have a team of people. It's not just Bob, you know, or Dave or whatever. You have a team of people. So, and we all have different levels of skill sets. We're all good at different things. We all work together really well. And if I have a problem with something, or I'm not understanding why this isn't working or that's not happening, I've got you. And if I don't have you, I have somebody else. And if that doesn't work, I have somebody else. So, you know, we have researchers, we have writers, we have technical gurus, we have people that love the numbers and the data. And so we have different people who are so good at what they do in their individual skill set that as a team, we work so well, and the results that we produce clearly are really good. And I just don't know that one singular person is going to be as effective as a group of us with what we can bring.
That's a good point. I think that person would be a unicorn.
For sure.
And what we say.
You're Eleanor.
Yeah, the Eleanor. An SEO expert will most likely not be a great content writer.
Nope.
And will not be a great link builder.
No.
Nor be great at cleaning up technical roadblocks, on the website. No. And if they can write content, build links, handle the website structure, the local SEO, like that person doesn't exist. Like I'm pretty sure we would have found them, or like they'd be all over LinkedIn or something, or have a giant YouTube channel, because it just doesn't exist. Like you need a team for that. And if for some reason, like if that person kind of does exist, that those types of skills of being great at link building, of being great at cleaning up technical roadblocks, of content, writing content and keyword research, you're not going to be great at all of those. You're going to be like 20% of all those. So that will be like a generalist of a skill. And then comes in a question of what you said of like bandwidth. Can they do all that inside of a certain time frame to be effective and bring value to a website? The answer is no.
And also, not only that, but you should never just have one person who can do a job, because you know, we all have lives. We're all humans. Things happen. We get sick, or we have vacations, or whatever could happen. And if you've only got that one person, and that something happens to that one person, or they happen to leave, or whatever it may be, now what? You know?
Yeah.
So at least with us, like, my skill set is not the same as your skill set. You are so much better at a lot of things that I am just not, and vice versa. But if you go on vacation, or I go on vacation, or whatever it might be, there's 3, 4, 5 other people who can temporarily step in to do what you do, not to the same standard or the same skill set that you have, but at least there's a backup plan there in that moment for example, there's been plenty of times when you've gotten a text message or a phone call or an email from a client late night, weekends, the website's gone down, there's an emergency here, this link's not working, this isn't happening. And if you haven't been able to jump in and fix it because you've got something going on, somebody else can. One singular person, firstly, they shouldn't be expected to do that as an employee. It's just, they shouldn't. But like, maybe they can't. Maybe they're unavailable. Maybe it's not something they can take on right now, So whilst, yes, there are definitely advantages to having an in-house person because that person's going to know your dispensary better than anybody else, I also think there's a lot of drawbacks to it as well. And if that unicorn does exist, then you're not paying them enough. I'll tell you that right now. If there is out there that is as good as an agency, just one singular person, you're not paying them enough because they would be worth an extraordinary big amount of money.
And probably want equity if they don't know their value like up front. Yeah. And that person should cover the 4 arms of this is what we do. That one person would cover on-page and technical department, department, link building department, content department, and then the local SEO department. So like GMB, local citations, all of that. One person cannot handle all of that. That's just not going to happen.
Plus liaising with internal customers, external customers.
And each other. Yeah. And different departments.
It's just a lot. And to put that onto one person is so much. And then let's say, for example, we have a repeat of 420 for the 4th year in a row, and it goes down and it's not working. Now this guy or girl has got all of this burden to bear on their shoulders and everyone's assuming that it's their fault and it's got nothing to do with them. It's a lot.
So how would you, if you're a dispensary owner, how would you evaluate an SEO agency to contract?
I don't know. I think that's a kind of a hard question and a slightly unfair question to ask. And the reason I say that is because we don't know what level of knowledge this person has as far as SEO goes. They could be really clued in. They might not know an absolute thing at all. I mean, in all honesty, the number one way to rate whether an SEO agency is working is literally from your results and seeing your profits increase or not. So obviously, I think that's primarily what a business owner or a dispensary owner is going to look at is literally that raw data of, well, last month we made this much money and this month we've made this much money. So that obviously would be the answer there. But outside of that, I think that it's our role as the agency that when we are initially having conversations with a dispensary and a potential client is to understand their level of knowledge when it comes to SEO. Like, how much do they know? Okay, now we've established how much they know. Now we understand how much we have to teach them in terms of what results they should expect, what we're going to do to get those results, and also how we're going to present the data to them on a monthly basis so that they understand it, they know where they started, they know the results they're getting, they know what they can expect from this point moving forward, set the expectation with them, and give them the monthly data in a way that's understandable to their level of knowledge. Because we have some clients who are so keyed in that we could just send them the data and they look at it themselves and they understand it and they're like, boom, got it. Yep, done. But we've also got some clients who we kind of need to hold their hand through the data and walk them through it every month. And like, this is what this means. And this is what this means. And at the end of the day, this is how much money that you're making from the efforts that we're doing. So really, initially, it's understanding your client and being able to educate them so they understand whether we're doing our job or not.
Okay. When looking at SEO agencies, what would be red flags for a dispensary if a dispensary is looking to contract an agency?
This just happened a couple of weeks ago. You and I were on Zoom and we were looking at something, and I do believe it was an agency website, and their website was so shit. I remember being like, well, hi, this agency.
Yeah, if an agency's website is worse than the client's website, that's not good.
No. Yeah, so like literally the very first thing I would do, I would most definitely go look at their website. And if their website's a bucket of shit, then no. And by that, I don't mean like it just looks bad in terms of like aesthetic. I also mean like things that I'm very sensitive to. So that would be like spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, those kind of things. They may seem small and minor, but they're not, because that's attention to detail right off the bat. So there's that. But also you want to look at their website and make sure that they do the things on their website that you should be doing within SEO. So for example, local SEO, make sure they have a GMB, make sure that they're responding to any reviews they get on the GMBs, make sure they have silos, make sure they have blogs, make sure that they have well thought out and structured pages, make sure that they have calls to action, they have reviews on their homepage, those kind of things. The things that we've spent the last year talking about in our podcast episodes, they should also be having on their websites. If you want a niched down agency, like we've discussed, go through their website, look at who their clients are, go check out their clients' websites, those kind of things. Look and see, how their clients are performing on Google searches, those kinds of things. Don't just take their word for that. A lot of us have like white papers on our websites, or if we don't have white papers, we'll have some version of like showing you, hey, this client started here and now they're here. I know for us, we do have our clients who have written us some wonderful reviews. So that's always an option. Also, don't be afraid to pick up a phone or send an email, because I know that if we had a potential client who contacted some of our clients, our existing clients, I know for sure we'd get glowing reviews. And I know for sure they would not mind having a conversation about us, or they wouldn't mind writing an email about how great we've been for them or what we've been like to work with. Because remember, we talk about this a lot, like you're investing money in your agency. We talk about how it's the mortgage versus renting, right? When you take on an agency and you put money into SEO. And if you're going to invest your money and your hard-earned profits into us, like we have no problem with you contacting our clients, and you should do that. You should do everything you can to make sure that you spending your money with us is going to pay off. Now, are we going to promise you an exact dollar amount every month? Absolutely not. We're not. But what we are going to promise you is results. And if we don't deliver those results, then we don't have to continue the relationship. But so far, we've delivered those results for every single client. So if an agency is not showing you their clients on their website, that to me is a red flag.
And this is the habit of just being in this world for, coming from our background, the magazines, which are just pure dog shit and offer no value whatsoever, to literally being able to draw an ROI and quantify in a matter of minutes. I would go to the case studies and just like rip those pages apart, first thing. It's like, what can you do for me? Mm-hmm. That would be the first thing I would look at. It's like, okay, like why would I hire? There's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of agencies. Like, why would I pick this one over this one, over this one, over this one, that kind of thing. So first thing I would do is check out case studies. And this is just a habit. I would choose a specialist. I mean, I take my car into basically a forerunner shop to work on all of the work that my forerunner needs. And that's just a habit. I know I pay more, but I know the work is going to be better. It's going to be faster, and it's just going to be a better experience all around. And the second thing I would look at would be the people. Who's behind it? Who am I going to talk to? Am I going to talk to like an account executive? There's nothing wrong with that. Or am I going to talk to like leadership? And how fast do they communicate? Which would be, I guess you can only gauge that after the first month of working together. But communication to me, like just the experience. And also, if I was hiring them, what is that onboarding experience? How much of my time will it take? Is it, because I don't like to do, I joke with my girlfriend that I say like, I like Uber Eats just because it's less friction. And she's like, well, I bet you would just pay them to like chew the food for you and spit it into your mouth and peel the crust off and walk into your kitchen, put it on a plate. Like, yeah, I probably would if it wasn't so weird.
And this is why we like her.
But,
because
but I mean, she's she's right in the fact that it's like a client or customer should not have, like, they're paying the money. Like, it should be like, that's it. Like, you solve my problems. That's why I'm hiring you or retaining you. And you should know those problems. You should know the problems before I even bring them to you. You should know problems that I'm not aware of, and you should just solve them. Right.
I do think that is one thing that you are really good at, is that you do spot the problem before they happen, and you do communicate with the client. Hey, this is happening. It's not a problem. let me explain to you why it's not a problem, but also this is what I'm going to do to correct it, change it, or whatever. And also the other thing is that sometimes we'll get clients who'll send us a screenshot of something and they'll be like, oh my God, like what the hell? And you'll be like, yeah, no, that's not a big deal. Like you're very quick to put them at ease. And I think all of our clients know that. Like you are so responsive with emails. Our clients all have your cell phone number. Like you're super responsive. And as like the CEO of the agency, that's not very common. It just isn't. Normally, like that would get passed off to somebody else. You know what I mean? But our clients know that they can always communicate with you and that you're super responsive. And I think that is something that is somewhat unique to us.
I think so too. And also just the agency just can't be shitbags. Like they can't just be in it like, oh, here's another client. Okay, cool. Like we'll talk to them during the onboarding process. And then maybe in 6 months, we might have like a quick Zoom call or something like that. I think communication is so critical. So
yeah, 100%.
Know who the people are, hopefully a team behind the SEO that's going to be done on your website. And hopefully it's good work. And if you can find those two-pronged approach, then they're a specialist, so a three-pronged approach, then you've definitely got something there.
Yeah, definitely agree. So I think that's pretty much all we need to cover in this episode. I know we sound like we're biased, and we are, but we also really believe in what we do and we've got the results. So I think we're allowed to be a little bit biased. But again, if you have any questions about maybe you're looking at hiring an agency, and it might not need to even be us, but maybe you're looking at it and you have some questions and you're just not quite sure, you can always contact us. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Our emails are on the website too. So you can absolutely 100% contact us if you have any questions. You're looking at an agency, but you're not quite sure. We are more than happy to give you a few pointers and point you in the right direction. Or if you have any other questions that you want us to go over in a podcast, you know where to find us. In the meantime, we're going to go and have another week of Charlie living wonderfully exciting life and me not doing anything. And we will be back with another episode in a week.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.